welcome to the 30-year celebration video of Tyddyn Môn. I'm Michelle Freeman, I'm the Chief Executive of Tyddyn Môn, and we'd like to take you on a journey from the charity formation in 1988 through to the current day in 2018. We'd like to share with you where we started and the progress we've made over the last 30 years. Here's Eileen and here's Christine, who've been board members for the last 30 years, to tell you a little bit more.
It was at the time of the Wales strategy, and which was a time when the Welsh office was giving a lot of money, ring fence for learning disability. Anglesey was a Bangor area, wasn't it?
Yes.
And so there was access to money. And anti-Weinbauer had started, hadn't it? And we thought we could have something similar, really.
Was it 20,000 we started with this?
20,000 from MenCap.
Yeah.
And then we had 20,000 from the Old Wales strategy, and then we took a mortgage for the rest of it. It cost about 60-something thousand when we bought it. But I can't remember exactly.
But we did go around lots of other places as a group from MenCap.
Yes, parents
Looking at other properties, and this was definitely the one.
Yes.
That we decided on.
And the people who sold it to us were very good, weren't they? I think they wanted us to have it, really.
Of course, no one had worked the farm since the Second World War. The access down to the farm here is quite unbelievable. That's the road coming down to Tyddyn Môn, and that gate on the left-hand side is actually where the cafe and the textiles are now. Oh, if you can imagine sort of dereliction and then much worse.
Yes.
It was really, it was no one's fault. The old gentleman that owned it, he hadn't been able to do anything for many, many years, so it had slowly deteriorated. Yeah, when we first arrived, it was a case of, well, what do you do? Where do we go? Where do we base ourselves?
Where do we start?
Yeah, exactly. Where do we start? What do we do? There was an old caravan at the top here, which fortunately was in quite good order, although it was very, very old. So we based ourselves in there for the first year. The house had no windows in, I don't even remember if it had a door on it, and the walls inside were green with mould. The ultimate plan was to get into the house, use the house as a base, but it really wasn't fit. So we set about making very, very rough window frames and door frames and etc., and sealed the house, made it weatherproof. And then I think we borrowed a huge blower, and we put that in the house for several days and let that blow, and it dried everything fantastically.
The girls used to sit and knit, and then they'd pull it back and they'd knit it again, and things like that. And we wanted something different, where they could actually do something and feel worthwhile.
Particularly with animals for some unknown reason.
Yes, we thought, we couldn't afford to employ staff. And so we managed, somehow, I can't say I was involved in this, NAPRO offered to run it for us.
I think before that though, didn't we get a group of parents and volunteers to come and, I think there's notes of it somewhere, to come and put grass and take away, make new passages and everything, and the house. So, yes, volunteers were really good. Most of them were parents belonging to me.
And then NAPRO provided the staff, Mike Hughes, who ran it, and Terry. They were the only staff, weren't they?
And over a period of 12 months, we got the house into a usable state, office and upstairs and things. But outside, of course, the land and the sheds were, well, awful. This is where the locker room and all the rest of the classrooms and that here now.
The top, yeah.
Yeah, they replaced these old buildings here. But of course, we didn't have any income of any kind in the beginning. I think we were allowed £70 a month, I think, to run it, which was... So we became very good at scavenging and borrowing, and people were very kind, you know. They'd say, we'd say, you know, go to a building site and say, have you got any bits of wood? And yeah, come on, you know. And then when you got there, they'd say, take all that as well, and there's some boxes of nails, and people were very, very kind, extraordinarily kind. I brought all my farm equipment from home in Llandegfam. I brought it by road over a period of a week or two, and I turned every field into hay, little bales. I brought my baler and everything here, and proved to be a good move, because the hay sold like hot cakes in the winter. I think we made about £1,600, I think, which was a huge boost to, you know, to what we had before. And then we had to look at the land as in terms of what were we going to do with it.
They just run it as a farm to start off with. Slowly, you know, people who we knew, or like somebody loaned us some cows, didn't they? And somebody gave us some sheep to look after, and that sort of thing. And then people gave us things, like somebody gave us a donkey and somebody gave us a parrot. I don't know what happened to them. But we had all sorts, haven't we? Every year, at the end of the year, in the Orwell strategy, there was money that hadn't been spent, and you could put in projects, couldn't you? So like one year we got the drive tarmac all the way down to the farm, and so we put in for this money every year.
Slippage.
Yes.
Slippage.
Yeah. And that was how we did it, quite a lot.
And about that time we got a grant, and we decided to purchase a digger, a yellow massey digger, similar to a JCB. We could really get stuck into the hedges and rip out all the old stuff and knock it all back to where it should be. There was only a small gang of us. There was myself, there was Mike Hughes, who unfortunately passed away the other week. It was me, Mike, Daniel was here. To that. That's it, dechrau to that. Bryn was here. Little Gillian was here. Heather. We later joined by Colin. And then I think Philip came a bit later again. So we were only a very small group.
At the same time, there was a housing group, which the first house was Mariamber in the Nye Bridge, and that was run as part of the Orwell strategy, really, wasn't it? And then we got a Mlynedd in Holyhead.
Anglesey County Council were involved right from the beginning. They had a team for learning disabilities, and they would provide the clients, we call them those days, I don't know what we call them now, to come here, and they paid for them to be working in the farm. I think that's right.
Yes, and they also paid for the housing.
Yeah, they paid for the houses. Yeah.
Social services placed people, because nobody comes here, it all goes into a house unless the social services are behind it. So, and I mean at that time we had a team that was fantastic. They were based in the village I live in, and they were just great. You could call in there and see them anytime, talk to them. It was wonderful.
You know, through the minutes, we've got 3 meetings on the same night, from different angles, and that's when we decided to amalgamate, because there were the same people on both boards, and it seemed to make sense anyway. But as Christine said, social services were very keen on the idea of having 2 separate things like the bar and the housing under one board, but eventually it got sorted out, and so that's what happened. So we then had a fresh board because there were other people who wanted to be involved, particularly one from Bridge who were into the house that we declared, Mariamba.
Yeah.
So they came a lot easier to manage then, because we had the same treasurer, same secretary. I think from then on, things got a lot plainer and clearer as to what we wanted to do.
We were hoping to have a rare breeds place, weren't we, when we started?
Yeah.
But, you know, things just sort of evolved, because we didn't have a lot of money. We had to manage with what we've got, and so we'd, one thing at a time. It's always been open to the public. We've always wanted the public to come, but it was difficult. Trying to think what.
I mean, for the houses, right from the start, we got what we wanted. We wanted a plan for the clients who lived in the houses, and I can't think of the word, because they were the actual tenants.
Yeah.
This is what we wanted. We wanted them to have independence, which was treated like everybody else. And it really worked with our houses. I think we did very well and are doing very well.
Yeah, yes, everybody would say that our houses are the best houses for people.
Yeah.
We give them the opportunity to do what they want to do, and that's how it's always been.
So yes, so I started knowing nothing. So started with an open mind, and Tyddyn Mone's attitude has always been not, no, you can't do this, but how do we make this happen? Whatever you want to do, how do we go and make this happen? And it's been like that from the word go, and that's what made me want to work and stay with Tyddyn Môn, because they've got a plan. And the plan is for all our service users to just live their lives, fall flat on their faces like the rest of us, if necessary, and learn and grow. And that's not just the service users, that's the staff as well, because we're all kept up to date with different courses and things like that, and Tyddyn Môn are red hot on that. But it's more the dialogue between the staff and between the houses and the farm. And there's no hierarchy. You can go to anybody for help and advice. And that goes for service users and staff. So it's become like, it is like an enormous family, Tyddyn Môn. I know that sounds a bit hackneyed, but it's true. And that is what makes Tyddyn Môn great. And it evolves. It doesn't stay the same, because ideas change and attitudes change, and Tyddyn Môn rolls with it all and keeps growing and evolving, and that's just...
My name's John Pritchard. I'm Project Officer for Active Wood Wales here in Anglesey. I've been in post for the last 5 years. Today we've been in Tyddyn Môn, which is one of the venues which we use during the rotation system with the Active Woods project. Coming to Tyddyn Môn, the welcome we always have has been terrific, and the involvement of the gang, as we call them, has been absolutely magnificent. The enjoyment we have running different activities from frisbee golf, cooking, orienteering, various other crafts and other walks, treasure hunts and orienteering, archery has been astronomical. It's been absolutely fantastic with the involvement with the service users here at Tyddyn Môn. We've, over the past 12 months, had extra money through grants to run other various activities like golf and music sessions, especially with the health and well-being, with Karen doing more keep fit sessions with the gang. Tyddyn Môn is somewhere that everybody can visit, everybody can be part of. The welcome here is fantastic and has been from day one. The staff here are very approachable, accommodating, and it's a load of fun that we have here at Tyddyn Môn. Right, can you tell me what you've been up to today?
We're doing some bids and active woods and things, you know.
Have you done some exercises?
Oh yeah!
With whom?
With Karen.
Right, and what did you do? Can you tell me?
Do some exercise.
Can you show me?
Like jumping jacks.
And did you do some leg ups?
Oh yes.
Yes, and the arms up.
Oh yes.
So you know what you're going to do with me now?
Yeah.
We've got a treasure hunt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we've got to find some clues. I'm going to give you a map.
The clever map device.
Indeed, and then you've got to walk round and write the answer for me.
Yeah.
You fancy doing that?
Will do, boss.
Okay, that's if I get a cup of tea off Graham. That's if I get a cup of tea off Graham.
Hey Graham, what's that now? John needs a cup of tea, mate, if you can, sir.
John Pritchard enw fi, a fi di swyddog coed lleol yma yn Ynys Môn, a bod yn rhan o dod i Tyddyn Môn hefo'r gweithgareddau da ni'n neud. Da ni'n dod yma unwaith y mis, a mae'r gang sydd yn cymryd rhan yma o Tyddyn Môn yn wrth ei bodd. Mae'r staff yn groesawus, mae'n bleser. Mi fydda ni'n neud cadw'n heini yma, mi fydda ni'n neud cyfyriannu, fydda ni'n coginio, fydda ni'n gwneud andros o wahanol bethau a ca hwyl a sport wrth wneud o.
Terry was a farmer, wasn't he? Always has been. And I think it must have been through him. We got pigs, I don't know where they came from.
I think again, I think we were given
Pigs, yeah. And so they showed the pigs, didn't they, to start off with? Yeah.
for quite a while.
Yes.
I don't know what's happened, but various stages we've gone down with animals. We haven't had as many animals, and then lo and behold, we're back into animals again. But they stopped going to the show, and I know they loved going to the show. They really did enjoy showing those pigs.
We've recently re-engaged with local community events such as the Anglesey Show and the Eisteddfod. We take along our pottery services and our service users, and we showcase what we produce on the farm.
People with learning difficulties can't compete in county shows. I mean, what do they know? How can they compete? And yet these guys wiped the floor with them, and they were forced to admit that yes, people with learning difficulties can compete, and very successfully. We won many prizes. In fact, we had a whole cabinet in the house full of rosettes and certificates and so on. It's something that we took a great pride in showing. It was our sort of window on the world where we could, how can I say, the skeptics who felt that, oh, these guys can't do anything, they can't do anything. Well, it was very hard for them to say that when these guys had just walked off with the top prize. How do you say they can't do it? Doesn't work out then, does it, we heard about this competition that was going on, and it was called Shell Better Britain, and we being sort of, I don't know, cheeky scoundrels, we thought we'll enter it. We thought, well, surely not, you know, and but we did, we entered it. We thought, well, you know, what have we got to lose? And the judges came round and they asked about, you know, when we showed them all the work we'd done and the prizes we'd won and all the rest of it. And they were very impressed. I didn't believe at that moment that anything would come of it. And the next thing we heard, well, you've won. You've won the Shell Better Britain Award. I think we're all a bit gobsmacked, I think, but we had to go to Carnarvon and receive, I think there was a cheque involved and some other certificates and things. But that proved to be very helpful because other organisations who were out there suddenly knew about us. It's like, who are these people who've won this Better Britain thing, you know? And we got people getting in contact with us. I had the chap ring me here, and there was a very poor line. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I had great difficulty hearing you. I said, where are you? He said, I'm in the middle of the North Sea on an oil rig. All the chaps here have decided to club together and buy you an implement for your farm, whatever you want, like, just name it and we'll buy it. And this North Sea oil rig crew bought it for us. It was actually a hay turner, actually. But that wasn't the end of it. The yellow digger that we bought, a chap came down here one day, staying in a caravan down in Lligwydd here, and he said, I believe you won the Better Britain Award. And I said, yeah, we did. I said, oh, nobody more surprised than me. And he said, I see you've got a massive digger. Yeah, I said, it's all right, it's a bit rough, but it was all we could afford. He said, well, actually, he said, and I don't remember what his job title was, but he worked for Massey. He said, right, he said, may I? I said, yeah, sure. And he took his writing pad and he walked around the digger and noting, left it at that. And about 3 weeks later, this enormous lorry turned up here with new tyres and new wheels and new buckets and almost enough to build another digger, almost, all free. And then on top of that, again, ICI, the fertiliser people, they heard about it and they rang up and said, is there anything we can do to help? And me being cheeky, like, I said, yeah, I said, a couple of ton of fertiliser wouldn't go amiss, like. And again, there are pictures here, some enormous Arctic arrived up there with about 20 ton of fertiliser on it. Again, all for free. So, yeah, we started humble, but started to gather pace, and I don't think we ever slowed down after that, really.
My name's Tracy Davis. I'm the housing manager for Tyddyn Môn, and we support people with a learning disability to live independently into the community. Meirion and Mlynedd were one of the first homes on the island to open as part of resettling people from mlynedd. Originally, we were set up as a company called Taylor Innes, and the farm in mlynedd was a separate charity to the Môn, and both then became one when we amalgamated into one charity. Meirion and Mlynedd deregistered as residential homes as part of transitional housing, and they then became supported living projects. Tyddyn Môn currently supports 24 service users on the island with a learning disability to integrate into the community.
A lady and a gentleman came here who were photographers, and they were sort of like pushing the envelope type of photographers, and they simply gave these lads a camera, no instructions as to what to do with it.
And this was pre-digital, wasn't it?
Yeah, just given this, those, I think they were these disposable type cameras. They were given one each, and just go. The photography department from the college in Dunleary, we sent the photos to them, and for some reason I couldn't get my head around, they were absolutely blown away by these pictures. And I thought, you know, they're taking the mick, you know, but no, they were like, you know, who would ever think to do that, you know, who would ever, you know, take a photograph. I think it's written down here somewhere. The average roll of film in this country will have Christmas at either end and a beach in the middle, and I think that, and this was so far removed. And there's a picture, it's up in the top there, of Bryn walking away, and they'd literally taken a photograph of Bryn's back as he's walking away. And these aficionados in Dunleary, they were just totally, it smoked them. Like that picture, they were saying, like, I can't remember who they compared it to, but they compared it to some really innovative photographer. I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but they were saying, like, oh, this is like the work of so and so, you know, this is, no, it's surprising the success we've had, really.
I started on the 7th of August 1989. I was then asked to manage Meirionfa and Elenfa, and then once that was up and running for a couple of years, I was then asked to manage more supported living projects. And then Kirill came along, Glennis came along, and then Helidon on Motton Road, Helidon in Mern Valley. So it's grown over time because of the need of the service users on the island, and the company growth.
And Glennis, that was quite a project, wasn't it? Because didn't it open on Christmas Eve or something?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it wasn't, if it didn't open that day, then it would have caused, it would have resulted in the local authority losing quite a lot of funding. So I can remember vividly key players, key head of services helping to move people and ornaments and bags and furniture from Bryn. And we opened on New Year's Eve.
Right.
Which was a, you know, frightening thought.
Yes.
Because new service users who had been living in Bryn for a number of years. So although we'd had the period of time where staff were shadowing the staff at Bryn, and that was very, very good.
And that's a really successful project now.
It is a very successful project.
I've been here today chatting to all the staff. Fantastic project.
I think it was, initially, I think there was some neighbours that were quite nervous about the location and the type of service users. And it's about an awareness of people that we support, really. So we introduced the neighbours and everything to service users, and I thought that was an important part of how Glennis integrated, really, as well as the other service users, the houses and the service users, really. Because you can walk the streets in Menabridge and you wouldn't realise that you've got a supported living project that's in the main road of Menabridge. and you know, we've not had any problems over the years with neighbours or anything, you know.
Everyone's very supportive.
Yeah, very, very supportive, yeah, families, neighbours, and the local authority as a whole, really.
Yes, yes.
I can't remember exactly when, but we got an arts lottery grant. In fact, we had a couple, didn't we? And so that we could commission works of art. And Eileen was very involved in that. You were one of the committee that made the decision.
Because we got all the different artists around to send plans of what they thought, and we chose. And I almost walked out on stage because they wouldn't have the pony that we've got here now. But I insisted that we had the pony.
And of course it's
it's absolutely lovely. Because it didn't start off that colour, it's rested now to it looks really nice, yeah, it's good. So, but that was a very interesting time for me, yeah. And of course we've got the sculptures all over the place, haven't we? Yeah. Again, trying to get the clients involved with that as well, with the putting there and involving in the entrance. There was it still there? That big ceramic.
Yes, yeah, it is, isn't it? Just seemed.
Yeah. The clients were involved in doing that as well. But it's a lovely time that was.
The farm has introduced now, we've had an annual cook-off, which really, really piques the competitive nature of both staff and service users, and the imagination of staff and service users. I have to say, Elenva, who I work for, won the first one, so we were reigning champions for a year, and we gave up our title this year, reluctantly. I can't remember which house it was, but they were very good. It was Menai Bridge who won with a stupendous pudding, may I just say. But we're coming back strong next year, and it's really good because our service users are very competitive, and they are allowed to flex those competitive muscles and those creative muscles, because a lot of them are very, very good in the kitchen. And you see the food that we produce, and it was the service user that did the cooking. It wasn't Anna and I, staff. It was all them, and it was all brilliant. And we're hoping next year to have a farm team, not just different houses, a farm team, and then maybe a cod trevy team, and then maybe a herb team. So it'll get even bigger, and that's what we're hoping, that this annual cook-off gets bigger and bigger, and it is an absolute joy to take part in.
I think we have achieved with the houses. We won't say that. We always want to improve, whatever. But they're all very independent, and I think that's what our aim was, and that they're happy. And we used to visit the houses.
Yes.
I used to go to Mary Oliver, and they were always out. When I went, they'd always doing their own thing, which was really what we aimed to do. But the farm has changed so much in the years, into animals, out of animals, into produce.
Yes, they used to do a lot of gardening and sell stuff, didn't they?
So it has varied. Each one good in its own way, but we were always keen on the animals, weren't we?
Yes.
In addition to other events, the charity runs a very successful folk festival every year. We have artists come in from throughout the UK and artists from the local community to perform. And here's John Hippie, who'll tell us a little bit more about it.
Okay, John Hippie, Festival Director of Folk on the Farm here. We started Folk on the Farm in on the 25th anniversary of Tyddyn Môn in 2013, Friday the 13th, 2013. And it was an idea that I'm on the board at Tyddyn Môn, and after one of our meetings, our previous managing director, Stephen McInhill, said to me, "You're always going on about these folk festivals, can you run one for us?" So I said, "Yes, no problem." So I went down the lane and I rang my co-founders Drew and Simo, and we decided, yeah, it's a great idea, let's do it. We'd never done anything like this in our life before. We'd been to a lot of festivals and we do a lot of filming, but we thought we'd have a go. That was in the May. By September, Friday the 13th September, we'd put on a 3-day event, which we actually opened to 6 people in the audience, and we thought, whoops. But by the end of the weekend, there was 100 people there, and they all said to us, "This is fantastic, you've got to keep this going," which we did. And it's grown and grown, and the second year we doubled up, and we've virtually doubled up each year. Had some great acts on, and I think it was about the second year that we got Henry Priestman, who is a local artist from the, used to be in the Christians and the Yachts, came on board as a patron, and that has been a wonderful move because he's goes to a lot of gigs that he does all around the country still with his solo career with Les Glover as well, and he promotes it, and we've really put it on the map, which we're very proud of.
I missed the first one, I think I was away gigging, but I've been to everyone since, and I was thrilled to be made patron. Was it last year or the year before? And it's a little folk festival like no other. It's slightly bonkers, but it's amazing. And everybody there, John Hippie, all the people who help, they're all fantastic. The Tithoners raise a smile and a tear at the same time. Yeah, I love folk on the farm.
Yeah, we actually have, I've always said, 2 separate or different audiences at Folk on the Farm. We've got the folkies that come from all the different festivals I go to and have got to know about it through word of mouth. And then we've also got the families and friends of the guys and girls with learning disabilities. But this is probably the only folk festival they go to. So musically we have to try and sort of get a mixture, not too much folky, you know, we don't want too much tree hugging folk, and we also don't want too poppy. So there's a balance we have to find, and I think we've done that with Gary Stewart and a lot of the artists are on this year. We had about 500 there last year. We think it's looking like it might be about 6 or 7 this year. The plan is, as always been said right from the beginning, is not to go past 1,000, because I think I've seen a lot of these festivals, they grow and grow and grow, and they're wonderful festivals, but they're a little bit impersonal. This year will be our 2018 will be our 6th event, and we've got a heck of a lineup, really fantastic, and the ticket sales are going fantastically at the moment, way up on last year. There's going to be a real good crowd here. The highlight of the festival, I think, will be Gary Stewart's Gracelands. They're an 8-piece orchestra, band I should say, from Yorkshire, and they perform the entire Paul Simon's Gracelands album.
Well, I'm George Pawson, I'm the supervisor at Tyddyn Môn, the place to work. I've been here for about 7 years, and it's absolutely superb. There have been lots of developments in that period, lots and lots of improvements, and the place is by far better than it's ever been, more professional, more appealing, and really good. There is plenty to do for our service users. They're never short of any tasks, whether it be outside, inside, making pots in the pottery, doing woodcraft, pyrography, wood burning, looking after the animals, mucking out, a job that some of them don't really like doing, but others love it, gardening, and plenty to do. We've developed the Pancake House as well, which is providing a great opportunity for some of our service users to get involved with customer service, serving the public, and general cooking, general making of the pancakes. We've also got a holiday home now, which is very appealing and attractive to large families or up to 16 people celebrating an anniversary or an event, and that is well rented out during the summer months and also other times of the year. That's basically it. I love getting involved with most things and love to work here, and I think it's so good for our trainees. It gives them plenty to do and teaches them new skills, communication, social interaction, and they love coming here. It's like one big happy family. As I've said, we are very busy here. There's more than enough to do. I can work from dawn till dusk, and there's still a list as long as your arm. We would love any additional volunteers in various tasks, whether it be groundwork, indoor, people to help in arts and crafts, but probably especially with outdoor work, whether a bit of trimming, bit of grass cutting, bit of weeding, bit of planting. Bring your skills and free time to Tyddyn Môn. We'd really appreciate it.
We work as a very strong team at Tyddyn Môn, introducing new projects to the farm to give new experiences and new training opportunities to the service users that we support. We have 7 supported living projects on the island, from Meirionfa in Menabridge and Glanynnis in Menabridge to Cirill in Llandegfan, Elenfa, Morton Road and Helidon in Holyhead, and Tannebryn in Valley. Then we also provide a floating support service also in the Menabridge area. The level of support is dependent on the need of the individual in each project. And we would tailor our support dependent on the level of support that's required. I'm grateful to all the staff and the service users for their commitment, their hard work and their enthusiasm with these projects. And of course we still rely on the funding from Anglesey County Council and social services to enable us to continue to support the adults that use our services across Anglesey. And we are also grateful for any donations and any funding to the charity to enable us to continue to support more adults with a learning disability and to enable us to further our services.
We have to go along with what the money not allows us to, but we need the money to keep us going, so we have to do other things like the recycling, and we've always sold produce, so I don't know, what do you think about our aim now, Christine?
Well, as usual, it's to keep it going.
Yeah.
But we have to meet certain criteria which social services set, so we've got to do it within their
limits.
Yeah.
And we can't finish this video without giving some thank yous. A big thank you to all the service users at Tyddyn Môn, to our staff who work tirelessly to deliver a quality service for the charity, to our volunteers who give up their time to come and help us out at the charity, to our board of trustees and to our commissioners and our local social services department at Ynys Môn Council. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
I'm a bit of a dinosaur, you know, I keep harking back to the old times, and you know, they were always better, the sun was always warmer, and but I mean, one has to accept that, you know, change is inevitable, and even I have to accept that. Yeah, I think Tyddyn Môn has become really a shining example, because we have not lost sight of what it was that we set out to do in the beginning. Our sort of mission in the beginning is almost identical to what it is today, only more so. We were just sort of little pioneers struggling at the time, but no, it's, you know, it's like watching a child grow, really, you know, and develop and get stronger and more independent, and yeah, it's different, yes, very different. But go back to the old days, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Die! Tree! Pick one! Pin!